So we're going to look at sketching graphs this time and where it crosses each of the axes. So when it says sketch, we don't need to list all of our numbers on each of the axes. You just need to draw the y-axis, the x-axis, and that's what you need to sketch. Okay, so the first kind of part of the sheet that you would have been doing means that you would have looked at this number. Okay, so this number at the end, the +4, the number that's on its own, tells us where it crosses the y-axis. Okay, but that's because we find where it crosses the y-axis because we let x equal 0. And then we find where it crosses the x-axis by letting y equal 0. So for each of the three questions we're going to go through, you're going to have one where x is equal to 0 and one section where y is equal to 0. Okay, so you can kind of split that kind of down the middle. Okay, so where x is equal to 0. So I'm going to rewrite the question. Y equals 2x plus 4. Okay, but x is equal to 0. What does 2x mean? So 2x means 2 times x plus 4. Okay. So x is equal to 0. So instead of 2 times x plus 4, I've got 2 times 0 plus 4. Well, what's 2 times 0 is 0 plus 4 is 4. So I know it's going to go through this point here on the y-axis, because y is equal to 4. On the y-axis, I know it goes through 4. Okay, and to find the other axes, I let y equal 0. So I'm going to rewrite the question. Y equals 2x plus 4, which means y equals 2 times x plus 4. This time y equals 0. So instead of y equals 2 times x plus 4, I'm going to put 0 equals 2 times x plus 4. Okay. So 0 equals 2 times x plus 4, I need to work out what x is. So I've got some stabilisers. I've got to take the +4 away, so I take away 4 from both sides. So 0 take 4 is -4 equals 2 times x plus 4 take 4. They disappear, so I'm left with 2 times x. Now, to get rid of the 2 times, I need to divide both sides by 2. -4 divided by 2 is -2. 2 times x, but divide by 2, I'm just left with x. So I know it crosses the x-axis at -2. So -2 is about here. So if I want to sketch my graph, then I just draw the line all the way through. When I find a ruler, draw the line all the way through, and if I want to, I can just write y equals 2x plus 4, because that is the equation of that line. Okay, next one. So sketch the graph of y equals x take 3. So I'm going to have a column for x equals 0 and a column for y equals 0. Okay, we should know what we're going to expect, where it's going to cross the y-axis, because we're looking at this. So we should already be able to guess where it's going to cross the y-axis, but we'll do it anyway. So we've got x equals 0. So y equals x take 3 means 1x take 3. It's not got any number before the x, so it's 1. So we've got y equals 1x take 3, which means y equals 1 times x take 3. But we don't have x, we're saying x is equal to 0. So anywhere I see x, I'm going to write 0. So y equals 1 times 0 take 3. Well, 1 times 0 is 0, take away 3 is -3. So it crosses my y-axis, this one, at -3. So I'm just going to add it in. About there is -3. Now I need y equals 0. So I've got y equals 1x take 3, which means y equals 1 times x take 3. This time y equals 0. So I'm going to write, where I see y, I'm going to write a 0. 0 equals 1 times x take 3. Now I'm going to use some stabilizers. I'll do those in a different colour this time so you can see them. So I need to get rid of the take 3, so I add 3 to both sides. Well, 0 add 3 is 3 equals 1 times x, take 3, add 3, I'm just left with 1 times x. Well, 1 times x is exactly what we want, so we can write 1 times x as just x. So I know it crosses this x-axis at 3, which is over here. So I've got both of my values now, so I can draw, or I can sketch that graph like that. Okay, and the last one that we're going to go through is this one. Sketch the graph of y equals negative 4x plus 16. So we're going to have an x equals 0 and a y equals 0. So with x equals 0, we know we've got y equals negative 4x plus 16, which means y equals negative 4 times x plus 16. Anywhere we see x, we're going to put a 0. So y equals negative 4 times 0, add 16. So we know it's going to cross at 16. But we already knew that because we've got the plus 16 is on its own. So I'm going to put a little marker because 16 is going to be all the way up there. So we know it crosses at about, well, at exactly 16. This is the trickier part. So y equals 0. So we've got y equals negative 4x plus 16, which means y equals negative 4 times x plus 16. So anywhere I see a y, I'm going to let that equal 0. So it's 0 equals negative 4 times x plus 16. I need some stabilizers to rearrange this. So to get rid of the plus 16, I have to take 16 from both sides. 0 take 16 is negative 16 equals negative 4 times x plus 16, take 16, they disappear. So I'm just left with negative 4 times x. Okay, then I need to get rid of this times by negative 4, and the opposite of times by negative 4 is divide by negative 4. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 4. Negative 16 divided by negative 4 is just 4 equals negative 4 times x divided by negative 4. I'm just left with x on its own. So the line is going to cross the x-axis at 4. So on here, 4 would be about there. And I can draw in my line. So I have now sketched all 3 of those graphs. All I have to do is label the x-axis and label it on the y-axis.